What becomes of one voice that molds how millions of people think about family, faith, and culture for almost 50 years? One of America's most well-known and influential voices in evangelical Christianity, James Clayton Dobson Jr., died on the 21st of August 2025 in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He was 89. For almost half a century, Dr. Dobson influenced how hundreds of thousands of families from across America thought about faith, parenting, and cultural values. With his top-selling books, his radio shows, and the organizations he started, he came to be a reliable guide for millions of Christians. For his steadfast defense of family values and his uncommon gift for breaking down complicated issues into plain language, Dobson was both highly regarded and fiercely contested. His death not only closes the door on an era of evangelical broadcasting, but also leaves a legacy that will keep shaping the conversation regarding faith, family, and culture for generations to come. Let's return to where it all started. James Dobson was born on the 21st of April, 1936, in Shreveport, Louisiana. Religion coursed in his family's veins. He was the son, grandson, and great-grandson of Church of the Nazarene ministers. His parents, Myrtle, Georgia, and James C. Dobson Sr., were evangelistic travelers, frequently away preaching throughout the nation. In their absence, young James, Jimmy Lee to his family, was left under the care of relatives. His childhood was characterized by stern discipline and intense religious conviction. Dobson would come to testify that he learned to pray before he learned to speak. At the age of 3, he answered an altar call called by his father and made a personal commitment to Jesus Christ. But home life wasn't always kind. His mother was firm in her discipline, at times resorting to using whatever was handy to discipline him. These experiences later influenced his controversial position regarding corporal punishment, an issue on which he maintained that at times it was required in order to produce respectful and obedient children. In spite of the strict punishments, Dobson excelled as a student in school. He also developed a love for sports, particularly tennis, that would be a lasting interest. Following graduation from high school, Dobson went on to attend Pasadena College, currently Point Loma Nazarene University. He took on the role of captain of the tennis team and honed his leadership capabilities, which would serve him throughout his business career. Additionally, it was at Pasadena that he met Shirley Deer, the woman who would become his wife and lifelong companion. In 1958, he earned his degree and served briefly in the National Guard. Shortly thereafter, Dobson started working at the Los Angeles Children's Hospital, where he met children experiencing emotional and developmental difficulties. These encounters opened his eyes to his true calling, psychology, and more specifically, Christian psychology. By 1967, Dobson received his doctorate in psychology from the University of Southern California. He went on to become an associate clinical professor of pediatrics at USC's medical school, a job that he maintained for 14 years, directly working with children and families. Dobson was increasingly dismayed by what he perceived as America's moral deterioration. His national career started in 1970 with the publication of his seminal book, Dare to Discipline. Within its pages, he called on parents to assert authority, define moral limits, and, on occasion, exercise corporal punishment. The book fanned controversy, but it also resonated with a potent appeal to millions of parents struggling to raise children amidst the upheaval of the 1970s. Before long, Dobson was invited to speak nationwide. His soothing tone of voice, warm sense of humor, and strong convictions rendered him an engaging orator. One of his most popular series of lectures, Where is Dad?, which emphasized the significance of fathers, was seen by more than 100 million individuals by the early 1980s. But even in his increasing popularity, Dobson was careful. Having witnessed his own father's extended periods of absence due to ministry work, he was adamant not to follow that example. Rather than constant traveling, he tended to record his lectures on tape, an early indication of how he utilized media to make ministry work and family life coincide. This was only the start. Shortly, James Dobson would start one of the most powerful Christian ministries in the globe, Focus on the Family. In 1977, James Dobson made a leap of faith that would come to define his legacy. He launched Focus on the Family, a ministry that started as a modest radio show but soon gained the attention of millions. What propelled it to success? Dobson possessed a talent for explaining psychology in easy-to-understand terms, in down-to-earth practical ways that applied to the daily life of families. By the 1980s, his program was no longer an American radio broadcast. It was heard by listeners across the world. In the years that followed, Focus on the Family diversified far beyond the radio, venturing into magazines, books, videos, counseling, and even youth sports camps. But Dobson's impact went even further. In 2003, he resigned as president of Focus on the Family, and in 2009, he resigned as board chairman. Retirement was simply not in his genes, however. Only a year later, in 2010, he initiated the Dr. James Dobson Family Institute and a new daily broadcast, Family Talk with Dr. James Dobson. From this platform, he continued to address issues of faith, family, and culture into his 80s. Now, let's turn to the personal side of his story. James Dobson married Shirley Deere on the 26th of August, 1960. They were together in marriage for a remarkable 65 years until his death. They had 2 children, Danny and Ryan. Ryan became an author and speaker like his father, while Danny became famous for writing and for her Christian dedication. Family was always Dobson's highest achievement. He would frequently comment that nothing and no honor or recognition was higher than being a father and a husband. Aside from ministry and family, Dobson had a lifelong passion for the game of tennis, which he played since college years. Even as an older man, he relished playing the game as exercise and recreation. Throughout his life, there were scores of awards and recognitions received by Dobson. Among them, National Association of Evangelicals Layman of the Year in 1982, Child Help USA's Children's Friend Award in 1987, and the California Psychological Association Humanitarian Award in 1988. He was inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame in 2008. He also received over a dozen honorary doctoral degrees, some of which included recognition by Indiana Wesleyan University, where he was inducted into the Society of World Changers. And yet, even though he headed a multi-million-dollar ministry, Dobson lived humbly in Colorado Springs. He was never extravagant or luxurious in his lifestyle. His life was plain, centered around family, writing, ministry, and naturally tennis. His net worth at the time of his death in 2025 was an estimated $10 million, much of that derived from books sold, speaking engagements, and roles. As leader at Focus on the Family and the James Dobson Family Institute, James Clayton Dobson Jr., who was born on the 21st of April, 1936, died on the 21st of August, 2025. He will be remembered as one who dedicated his life to religion, family, and radio, admired by numerous people, disapproved of by others. His voice defined American culture for almost half a century. May he rest in peace. What do you believe about James Dobson's legacy? Was he a voice of leadership or a controversial figure? Let us know in the comments below. And if you'd like to hear more inspiring stories about the individuals who built our world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update.